One day, when I came home from school, I found my stepdad sitting in the living room. I greeted him and went straight to my room to change my clothes. Suddenly, he rushed in without knocking and caught me while I was changing. In that moment, things went too far, and we crossed a line that should never have been crossed. Afterward, reality hit me hard, and I began to cry, overwhelmed with regret for what I had done. Have you ever faced a moment where the lines between right and wrong blurred, and the forbidden became undeniably tempting? My name is Rose, and my world turned upside down when my mom got remarried. Out of nowhere, Ben became my stepdad, a man who entered our lives without warning. Initially, he appeared to be a good man, always present, making an effort to be warm and approachable. Yet deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get complicated. As a teenager, I felt torn between the comfort of my old life and the uncertainty of this new chapter. I didn't quite know how to feel about Ben's presence in our home. At first, I hardly paid attention to him. My days were filled with school, friends, and the challenges of teenage life. But over time, something shifted. There were moments where the air between us felt different, heavy with tension and unspoken emotions. I noticed the way he looked at me, a look that set my heart racing and made me question everything I thought I understood. I knew I should have been thankful for his presence, but every time Ben was around, an unspoken tension filled the room. It felt as though we were tiptoeing around something neither of us dared to acknowledge. Deep inside, I was torn between feelings of attraction and guilt, struggling with emotions I didn't want to admit. I felt as if I was standing on the edge of a line I hadn't even realized existed. At first, it was subtle, just fleeting glances and the way his eyes lingered on me. These moments left me feeling uneasy, yet my heart raced each time he looked at me that way. I couldn't understand why, and the confusion only grew. I loved my mom deeply, and I would do anything to protect her happiness, which made it all the more difficult to confront these feelings. I wanted to tell her about how Ben, her husband, and my stepdad looked at me in ways that felt wrong. Many times I tried to muster the courage to speak up, but fear always stopped me. No, Rose, I would tell myself. It would hurt her too much. Eventually, I decided to confide in my friends at school. I told them how his lingering stares made me feel uncomfortable, and how those moments left my heart racing with confusion. To my surprise, their reaction was far from supportive. "Girl, maybe you're falling for each other without even realizing it," one of them said with excitement. "If your heart's racing, it means something's happening. Just go with it." I immediately shook my head, horrified by the suggestion. "I can't," I said firmly. "I love my mom too much to hurt her like that." I knew deep down that Ben needed to stop looking at me in that way, because I would never allow myself to cross a boundary that should never be tested. My friends weren't having it. "Are you going to tell her, or is your stepdad going to? Come on, grow up. Act mature. Your heart is telling you something. Stop suffering and see where it goes. You will be free like a bird, and then you will thank us for this amazing advice." They encouraged me to let the feelings flow, insisting that my mom was older and didn't need love as much as I did as a young woman. In anger, I shot back, "Don't ever call my mom old again, or I will stop hanging out with you." I stumbled off, feeling frustrated and confused. When Shelley got home, she sat in her room thinking about everything her said. "Oh God, I think I'm in love with my stepdad," she whispered to herself. "How did I end up here? He's so much older than me and not my age at all. Why am I feeling this way?" She felt a wave of panic wash over her. "Please God, help me. My mom loved this man so much and would do anything to protect him. I don't want anything to ruin the great bond I have with her. Please help me handle this situation in a way that won't hurt my mom." One day, while sitting alone in the living room, reading, my stepdad walked in. He came too close, staring at me with an intensity that made my heart race. I felt like my heart might burst. He held my gaze for 30 seconds, and in that moment, it felt like we couldn't hold back any longer. We shared our first kiss. I was blown away, completely caught up in the moment. But then, we heard my mom's footsteps approaching, and we quickly pulled away, rushing to separate ourselves so she wouldn't notice anything. Once in my room, I broke down in tears. How did I just kiss my stepdad? Oh God, I have disappointed my mom. I cried uncontrollably. A few moments later, my mom walked into my room and sat close to me. "Why are you crying, sweetheart?" she asked gently. I wiped my tears and said, "I just remembered my late dad. That's why I'm upset." My mom held me tightly, comforting me. "It's okay, honey. Everything will be all right. Your stepdad is here for you. He and I love you and will help you through this. We want to give you the support you need to forget your dad." She continued to console me until my tears finally stopped. One day, when I came home from school, I found my stepdad sitting in the living room. I greeted him and went straight to my room to change my clothes. Suddenly, he rushed in without knocking and caught me while I was changing. In that moment, things went too far, and we crossed a line that should never have been crossed. Afterward, reality hit me hard, and I began to cry, overwhelmed with regret for what I had done. My stepdad begged me to keep it a secret. "I will divorce your mom and marry you," he said. In shock, I pushed him away and told him to leave my room. For days, I cried, tormented by guilt and the betrayal of my mom's love. She often came into my room to comfort me, thinking I was sad about my late dad. I felt awful for putting her through so much pain. One day, as my mom comforted me, I looked into her eyes and saw nothing but unconditional love and concern. In that moment, a surge of emotion overwhelmed me, and I realized I had to come clean about everything that had happened with my stepdad. When I finally told her the truth, my mom was heartbroken. Tears streamed down her face as she kept asking, "Why would you do this?" I admitted it had been a terrible mistake and begged for her forgiveness. I also shared what my stepdad had said about wanting to marry me. Her sorrow quickly turned into fury. Without hesitation, she threw him out of our house and made it clear he was never to come near me again. Then, she pulled me into a tight embrace and said, "I will never marry again. I don't want anyone to come between us. Having you in my life is enough for me." In that moment, a profound sense of relief and gratitude washed over me. "Thank you, Mom," I whispered. "You've shown me so much love. I promise I'll never disappoint you again." From that day forward, my mom and I grew closer than ever. We lived together, stronger and more united, learning the true meaning of love and family. We discovered that real happiness lies in the unbreakable bonds we share, and that love should never come at the cost of those who matter most. Moral lesson. This story highlights the importance of family, loyalty, and the consequences of crossing boundaries. True love is built on respect and should never harm the people we care about. Open communication and seeking forgiveness are essential when mistakes are made. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey through Shelley's story. It's a powerful reminder that life often challenges our values and relationships, but the hardest decisions often lead to growth and strength. If this story resonated with you or gave you something to reflect on, please subscribe to my channel for more stories that delve into the depths of human experiences, family, and resilience. Together, we can continue to learn, grow, and find meaning in every story. Stay blessed, stay true, and thank you for being part of this journey.
Subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification for more stories like this, and give this video a thumbs up. Click on this next interesting story.